Welcome to the Strategy Mob Podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
I want to throw one at you guys because I've been consulting a lot with dealerships recently on this, right? And, you know, again, what it all came back to, when I think of a pay plan, it's like I first have to define what the goal and objective is. And I'll tell you, most of the time when I go into a dealership to help them develop out a pay plan, the goal and objective usually has numbers associated with it. Lots and lots and lots of numbers. And I'm like, let's go back even farther. Like, what is the real goal and objective? You know, what is your, how do you want to be perceived by people out there? What's your goal there? Let's start there. Let's build a pay plan off of that, and the numbers will kind of fall along with it. So I have a handful of dealerships, and actually this is interesting because I have a couple of used car dealerships that are doing this, where the goal has been relationship. Like, that is at the core of everything. They want to create that relationship. So what we ended up doing was we actually took the salesperson's role and the service advisor role, and we actually molded them together. So the person you buy the car from is the same person that you come to get the vehicle serviced from. So you think about that continued development of that relationship. All right. I have a handful of dealerships now that are in almost year one. They've just, I think, around the 10 or 11th month mark that they've been doing this. And the amount of referrals have already incrementally increased. Because, you create this amazing relationship with the customer, in buying one of the largest purchases they're ever going to make. Then I hand them off to, Julie in the back, who's our service advisor, and I barely see the person again. Maybe every once in a while we run into each other in the service lounge. We're like, oh, hey, how's it going? What's your name again? Oh, yeah. I sold you. You sold me that $80,000 car last year, and you don't remember who the hell I am.
And you don't remember my name.
You don't remember my name either, right? So, I'm seeing some new, unique concepts, right? These people are also paid. They're on payroll. So they get paid a salary because there's a defined expectation as far as what the relationship and the process should be. I learned from a manager years ago. One of the first managers, actually I learned a lot of bad things from this manager. But one of the things I did learn that has always stuck with me is that you never manage the people. You manage the process. You let that process manage the people. Okay, that's cool. So then I have to develop out a process that will give them the ability to create a legitimate relationship. And so I've been pushing dealerships to do that, but I'd love to kind of get your guys' thoughts. I've never actually talked about this in a podcast. This is kind of fun. But what do you guys think of this hybrid of me taking the sales and service and shoving it together?
It's crazy, man. I want to go first because here's why I want to bring it up. It's genius, Jason, just for one. It's genius. I was on Fixed Op Mastermind, and they had me as a special guest recently, and they kind of talked about, like, they brought up service reps, and I talked about how they're salespeople and how that the relationships between a service rep and a salesperson needs to become way better, because it's always been front of the house, back of the house. I don't like them. They always try to make me, but when you can do what you just talked about, when you can make it, wow. I mean, think about that. I mean, that relationship with that customer becomes so much more broad. It's not just the sell point, and then every time they buy a car or every time they sell something, but every time they need an oil change, every time they need new tires, they need just their, they want to just have rotation of their tires, whatever it is, they have a point of contact that was the person they originally bought from, that they built a relationship with. They've built all that trust with, to say, yes, I'm going to do this on the dotted line. Jason, I think
right,
that
guys. I mean, look, it really does create that car guy, car gal, right?
Yes.
It creates that person, where it's like they're my car amazing. Person. They're just
I love it.
That's my car guy. Who it is, and you guys are 100% right.
My brain's going like crazy right now. Just that, I don't know how I didn't think of that already. I mean, that is
inside of our store. So we're all used, and we don't have a service business. Right. So we have an entire
we better talk about that then.
Department that takes care of our cars, just our cars. We do the maintenance on our cars, do the work on our cars, the oil changes, so on and so forth, to put our cars and make them ready. Right. But our actual car buying coaches are the stewards of whatever has to happen that we're agreeing to do after the fact.
Yep.
After that, for the most part, customers on their own. We tell them, hey, go build a relationship with a Nissan dealer, with a Ford store, go build that relationship with them.
That's
we
how we
encourage
lose
them to
them.
go do that, right? So I believe that right there, that whole concept is exactly what a
That's
customer
the future,
wants,
bro. Jason, that's
in
the
a
future,
car
man.
guy, right? Because they say, hey, this is what's going on in my car. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just do the paperwork.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy Mob Podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to sign up to be a mobster at strategymob.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.